So, Donald Trump had a second meeting with Vladimir Putin, and we are upset. Why? Because we in the media didn't know about it prior, or because we just want to pile on about it now? You know, for the life of me, I'm really at a loss on this one, and why this is even an issue. I mean, these guys were not holed up alone at some super secret location. They were at a Group of 20 summit of world leaders in Germany. This was at a dinner for those leaders. All the leaders knew about it. They were all there. Not a one, from what I can see, wearing a disguise. Look at that table. They talked, they mingled, they moved around. You know, the sort of thing that world leaders do at a meeting of world leaders. It's what they do at these G20 events. Actually, it is all they do, schmooze. They get up and schmooze. Hoo-hoo, do they love to schmooze. Whether it's for a minute or an hour, do we really care? If President Trump joins President Putin further down the table and uses his translator because he spoke English and not his own because he didn't speak Russian, does it really matter? Each leader could bring only one translator. The president was seated next to the Japanese prime minister's wife, so his translator spoke Japanese. Somehow, everyone in that room, though, got around these boundaries in at least a dozen different languages. I'm also told a good time was had by all, even though it is safe to say all of the folks in that room didn't flip over the elephant in that room, talking to the other elephant in that room. Now, they sound catty, but that doesn't make for a conspiracy. Like when I heard Connecticut Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal ominously wondering about a conversation he will never know. Yet, if memory serves me right, he didn't say boo about another president's conversation about which he very much did know. Barack Obama's incredible exchange with then Russian President Medvedev, caught off mic about waiting for a certain presidential election.
This is my last election for you. Yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah. And I transmit this information to Vladimir.
I understand. You know, I don't recall Mr. Blumenthal steamed over that, just over this. Some media coverage of that, nothing approaching this. Another news network even expressing faint horror at the sight of Melania Trump sitting next to Vladimir Putin. No historical reference at all to a certain other first lady once seated next to a fellow named, Nikita Khrushchev. We later learned that John Kennedy was sending secret notes to the Russians through his brother Bobby to solve the Cuban Missile Crisis. Not a word about this president talking to his Russian counterpart, maybe to prevent a future crisis. No, Kennedy was brilliant and working a connection. Trump's a boob and proving a collusion. And the media calls this holding truth to power. Please, save the sanctimonious outrage for someone who cares. If this was a super-secret powwow, newsflash, the whole world was in on it. And every major world leader was playing a part in it, including their spouses. Clever. And talk about clever by half. Those G20 guys, icing us media guys in full view of, I don't know, the world? Gee. I mean G20. Get it, GJ. Anyway, none other than host Angela Merkel in on the whole thing, inviting the whole bunch. What is German for? Faked you out, fake news. How dare they meet and talk? Better they should just sit and not say a word at all. And how dare the American news media not be given a heads up, especially when it seems that every other country's media knew exactly what was going down. This is kind of like that time President-elect Trump went out for a steak dinner in New York City and never told anyone, and the media was furious. Oh, the outrage. Oh, the questions that were never answered. What kind of steak was it? Did he have a baked potato with it? Butter or sour cream? Maybe both. And what did Melania have, the ribeye or the petite filet? Oh, did the media have a T-bone to pick with Trump then? But that's nothing like the beef it has now. The same media famous for saying leaders should talk, just not this one, and break bread, not war, just not this one, and work together on solving crises, not making new ones, just not this one. Stop. Just stop. You are trying very hard to mask a hate that is now too over the top. Go after the president on things that matter, not the silly things that don't. It is fair game to say the president might have dropped the ball on health care. We said it on this show. But to say he did the same, dropping in on a world leader at the same table, look at that table! Everyone's there. It's like 5 Cavuto family reunions. For now, focus less on what he's eating and maybe more on what's eating you. It only makes you look childish, worse, vindictive. Isn't that the kind of stuff, by the way, you say you hate about the president? Just because you missed a dinner does not entitle you to some childish just desserts. Food for thought. You're making me want to vomit. Good night.